with David Chatowsky.
Hello everybody, welcome to Painting Time. Today we have an amazing episode in the field on lovely Block Island, Rhode Island. What I'm going to explain to you and show you is some shingle art that I've done, and we're going to start off with a giant great blue heron that's on the side of the Morrison residence on the corner of Payne Road and Mohegan Trail. So follow me. So this is a great blue heron that was shingled into the side of the wall, and that was, the shingler was John Fournier. I'm gonna explain to you how we make shingle art. Well, first of all, I got a call by the Morrisons, and they asked me if I could draw them a great blue heron. And I said, of course I could. So I drew them this sketch of a great blue heron, two of them, and they chose this one here on the right to be the design for the shingle art. So that's the first is getting the sketch and getting it to fit the proportions of the building. The second step is to cut it out of tar paper. So what I did was I took some tar paper and I made a small study of a great blue like this. There's its head there, its neck, its body, and its legs. And this is cut out of tar paper that you'd get at the local hardware store. And then what I did to make the big one, which is about 10 feet by, overall it's about 10 feet by 8 feet wide, I glued with a hot glue gun, I glued several pieces of tar paper together, and then I cut that out. Once I had the tar paper all together, I took chalk and I studied my sketch, and I sat down and I freehand the drawing. I looked at the sketch and I freehand the drawing of the great blue onto the tar paper. And then I took an X-Acto blade and I cut it out. And here's an example of that. This is an example of the great blue heron. That's its head. And this is the exact size that we put on the wall before the shingles go up. And then you take a marker and you trace this. And then once you trace everything, you have this silhouette. And a lot of the times, we leave the tar paper contour, the tar paper silhouette on, and as the shingler shingles up from the bottom up, they actually they'll cut the tar paper as they go up and to make the design. Then once the heron was cut out of tar paper, we put it onto the wall and we traced that, and then once the image was traced, John Fournier came and with shingles, just like these are shingles, he made the image. Now this is a great blue heron, and great blue herons are found all throughout North America, and they're here in the Ocean State. They spear fish, and you can find them around water, ponds, rivers, on the side of the ocean, along the edges of Narragansett Bay. They hunt mainly fish, but they'll also eat amphibians and sometimes even reptiles. So as you can see, there's also a little plant, and that's we designed a ground to give it to make the heron on a ground, so it wasn't just floating in space. That heron is about, the total length of the piece is close to 10 feet, and it's been up there, and it'll be up, it's a permanent part of this house. So when you're on Block Island and you're driving on Mohegan, if you see the southeast light, you'll see this beautiful house on the corner of Mohegan Trail and Payne Road. You can see it yourself. And a little later on, we're gonna go look at another shingle art, a design that I did of a big striped bass being shingled by a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Martin, and he's on the western side of the island. So we're going to take a ride over and do that. And we also have the Minstrel of the North Atlantic. Now, as you may have seen in some of my former episodes, we are really privileged to have the minstrel. What he does is he sings songs about the animals that we portray in the art. And so he's going to be singing here a song about the great blue heron.
Great blue, great blue, great blue, great blue heron. Stalking the mud flats for a bite to eat. Standing still, waits for a tasty treat. Uses his bill to make the kill, great blue heron. They eat little fishes, frogs and rats. They're not too discerning when it comes to that. It takes a lot of food to grow big and tall, great blue heron. Great blue, great blue, great blue, great blue heron. With slate gray feathers and some azure blue. Down in Florida there's a white morph too. They grow great blooms in breeding times, great blue heron. Nesting in a heronry with all of their kin. Hungry chicks make quite a din. They're squawking and they're talking and they're growing fast, great blue heron. Great blue, great blue, great blue, great blue heron. Flying through the air so majestically, gliding on powerful 6-foot wings, necks in an S shape, yellow feet behind, great blue heron. They're pillars of strength on their skinny legs, can learn a lot from their self-reliance. A monarch of the river, marsh and pond, great blue heron. Great blue, great blue, great blue, great blue heron. Great blue, great blue, great blue, great blue heron.
Now, we're going to go and see a work that's in process. This is a great endeavor. It is of a big striped bass, and it's on the west side of Block Island, and it's being shingled by, as I said, a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Martin. So follow me, and we'll go over there, and we'll see Ben, and hopefully we'll take a look at this great endeavor of the striped bass. I'm here with Benjamin Martin. He's a talented carpenter, businessman, builder on Block Island, and he's doing on his property, he's doing a giant, great endeavor. It's a giant striped bass that he's doing the shingle art, and he asked me, I was honored to do a drawing, and I did the drawing, and he approved it, and then we cut the striped bass out of the black tar paper, and we put it on his wall, and he's already in the process. He's done a beautiful job with the cedar of its tail, which you're going to see in just a minute. But Ben, you want to say hello to the people?
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all. Yeah, I love shingling, and I love doing the shingle artwork. And Dave was the first person that came to mind when asking for somebody to draw something, because I don't have the ability to actually draw a fish, but I can shingle it once somebody else draws it. So today I'm going to show you how to cut the shingles with a jigsaw, and how to layer the different courses of shingles to have the design come to life.
Voila, here's the artwork. Here's the black tar paper striped bass. This is the pattern that Ben is working off of, and that's what I cut out, and then I came and I stapled it on, and as you can see, Ben is started the tail, and he's working from the bottom up. And so Ben, if you want to explain a little bit about the process.
We do the first course, and then you lay the first half of the design on top of the shingles. Water will hit the wall, hit the top of the design, and then roll onto the full course of shingles here and roll off. So we take the tar paper and then trace this shingle and then cut it with a jigsaw in order to get that nice shape. And you kind of could tweak the design here and there in order to have it match the real world application based off of the design here. And then you do the next course and butt into it, and then you do this laying on top of it again and just repeat.
All right, and you want to show us how to use the jigsaw and show us how to make it?
All right.
All right.
Okay, I'll go grab that.
Hey, Ben's now going to cut these are Western red cedars that we got from Arnold Lumber out of Westerly, Rhode Island, and Ben's now going to cut them. He's going to show us how to do that, and we'll let the master carpenter at work here do his thing.
All right, so you can cut these on a scroll saw or a jigsaw like we talked about. So if I'm up on the stage, I'm not going to break this big machine with me, but if I'm down here, it works really nice. So I'll go ahead and start cutting one for you. After I put my safety glasses on. And now we have our set. Ta-da.
Good, that'll...
See him from the beach, striped bass. See him in the surf, striped bass. He's chasing sand eels, he's looking for bunker. He'll eat anything from a flounder to a lobster. He's the scourge of the shallow waters, striped bass. He's a well-adapted hunter, striped bass. He's working up a hunger, striped bass. He likes a strong tide and the full moon. He makes the little fish ball up and boil too. He's the scourge of the shallow waters, striped bass. He's a thing of beauty with those lateral lines. He's a ghost in the water, a phantom of the brine. He's a mesmerizer, across the bottom he glides. See him in the waves,
right, well, thanks a lot, Ben. It was great. Thank you for showing the people and myself a little bit about the shingle art and the great striper that you're going to be finishing up. And when you do finish the striped bass with the red cedar shingles, we're going to be coming back and filming the completion. And we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much. Take care.
All right. I'm probably going to head down to the beach now and go look for some spots for maybe a great blue heron and some rocks, go down by the rocks and see if we can see some striped bass. Come on, join me. Around. So when I get a phone call from someone who's looking for a design, this is where I draw, and these are some drawings that I've done for some designs. Here's a striper feeding underneath, here's a striped bass feeding underneath the north light. And we're going to be going out there in just a minute to see if we can do some fishing and catch one and maybe see some seals. But this is where I draw. This is on Block Island, Rhode Island. We're off the coast of Rhode Island, 14 miles off the coast of Rhode Island. And you get here by going to Point Judith and taking the ferry. And it's an hour ferry out of Point Judith. It's a lovely spot, and there's a lot of beautiful things to see. And you're gonna join me. We're gonna go out to the North Light now, where I also draw from and get a lot of inspiration. Behind me is the North Light of Block Island that was built in 1861, and it's a very obviously historic building, but it's also a great walk out. You park at the parking spot, the parking lot over there, and you walk out. It's about 15 minutes to the North Light right there, and there's a lot of wildlife out here. Already we've seen seals, great blackbacks are nesting. We don't go up into the sand dunes behind us, because the great blackback gull is nesting there. So, and I also brought my fishing rod with a lure. This is called a sluggo, and it looks like a sand eel. Really effective for striped bass. So it's just beautiful, beautiful part of Rhode Island. I don't want to get close at all, but at the very tip of the island is a whole rookery of seals, and those are gray seals and harbor seals. And you can see some to our right out in the water. That's the seal colony out on Block Island is a relatively new phenomenon. The seals there were always seals, especially in the winter here on Block Island, but not like it is now. The seals out in the point on the tip of Block Island are really numerous, and they're here year round. stripers are mainly nocturnal, so at dawn and dusk is a good time to fish for them. This lure mimics a sand eel, and they like to feed on. It's just a slow retrieve. Cast it out and slowly reel it in. Kind of every once in a while do a shake. And if there are stripers around, typically, and they're feeding, they'll grab it. Well, I really hope you enjoyed Painting Time with David Chatowsky. This episode, we got to explore a lot on Block Island. We see a lot of cool artwork and unique artwork. Shingle art is really goes back into antiquity as far as the using the shingles. It dates way back, and this is just such a beautiful place, a beautiful island, and a beautiful state. And I hope you accompany me and the Minstrel of the North Atlantic on more episodes as we create art and meet artists and other tradesmen, and hopefully catch some stripers.